The tennis ball sailed through the air in a perfect arc. And in that frozen moment, Miranda Chen, CEO of Apex Industries, Forbes 30 under 30, tennis club champion, realized she had made the biggest mistake of her life. Not because she was about to lose a game, but because she had spent 3 years walking past a miracle, without ever bothering to look down. Her hands trembled around the racket grip. The crowd of country club elites had gone completely silent. And Marcus Williams, the quiet janitor who mopped their floors and emptied their trash bins, stood on the opposite side of the court, with the calm dignity of someone who had already won something far more important than a tennis match. 20 minutes earlier, Miranda had been holding court at the club's annual charity gala, champagne flute in hand, surrounded by admirers. She was untouchable, unstoppable. At 32, she had built a tech empire, graced magazine covers, and never lost a tennis match at the prestigious Riverside Country Club. Her serve was legendary. Her backhand was poetry. Her ego, though she would never admit it, was as polished as the trophy case bearing her name. Another tournament win, Miranda? Kenneth Brightwell, a board member, raised his glass. You make it look effortless. Practice and discipline, she replied with a practiced smile. The kind that had closed million-dollar deals. Talent only takes you so far. That's when she noticed Marcus pushing a maintenance cart past the veranda. His Navy work uniform slightly faded from countless washings. He moved with quiet efficiency, invisible to most. He had worked at the club for 3 years, and Miranda couldn't remember ever having a real conversation with him. Brittany Sanders, a hedge fund manager notorious for her cruel humor, followed Miranda's gaze. You know, Miranda, you're so good at tennis, I bet you could beat anyone here. Even the help. She laughed, and others joined in uncomfortably. Something reckless sparked in Miranda. Maybe it was the champagne. Maybe it was the way everyone always agreed with her. Maybe it was the numbness that came from being worshipped but never challenged. Beat me in tennis and I'll marry you, she called out, her voice carrying across the veranda. The crowd gasped, then erupted in nervous laughter. Marcus stopped pushing his cart. He turned slowly, his dark eyes meeting hers across the distance. There was no anger in his expression, only a quiet sadness that made something twist uncomfortably in Miranda's chest. I'm serious, she continued, riding the wave of attention. Anyone brave enough to challenge me? I'll even give the janitor a shot. She gestured toward Marcus with her champagne flute. What do you say? Want to take a swing at marrying a CEO? The silence that followed was deafening. Several club members looked away, embarrassed. But Marcus simply nodded once, set down his cleaning supplies, and walked toward the tennis courts. Wait, you're actually... Miranda started, surprised. You made an offer, Marcus said quietly. I'm accepting. 15 minutes later, they stood on opposite sides of the court. What had started as a joke had somehow become real. The entire gala had relocated to the courtside seats. People held up phones, recording. Brittany was taking bets. The energy felt carnival-like, except for the expression on Marcus's face, serene, focused, almost sad. Miranda bounced on her toes, warming up with the confidence of someone who had never known defeat on this court. I'll go easy on you, she said across the net, trying to recapture the playful tone that had started this. Don't, Marcus replied simply. She served first, a powerful serve that had won her 3 club championships. Marcus returned it with a fluid motion that made her blink. The ball came back faster than she expected, angled perfectly to the corner. She scrambled, barely reaching it. The rally continued. 5 shots, 10, 15. Miranda was breathing hard, and they were only 3 minutes in. Marcus moved like water, like wind, like something that couldn't be contained or predicted. His technique was flawless, better than flawless. It was transcendent. When he won the first game, a shocked murmur rippled through the crowd. When he won the second, people stopped laughing. By the third game, Miranda was drenched in sweat, and the crowd sat in stunned silence. How are you doing this? She gasped during a water break. Marcus took a long drink, his hand steady despite the intensity of the match. You really don't remember me, do you? Miranda froze. What? 10 years ago. U.S. Open. I was ranked 7th in the world. The tennis racket slipped from her fingers, clattering on the court. Memories flooded back, newspapers, magazines. A young black tennis prodigy everyone said would be the next big thing. Marcus Williams, the name she had somehow failed to connect. "You disappeared," she whispered. "Everyone said you quit at your peak. Threw it all away." "My mother got sick," Marcus said simply. "Pancreatic cancer?" She was a single mom who worked 3 jobs to pay for my tennis lessons. When she got diagnosed, she didn't have insurance. So I made a choice. He picked up his racket. "I liquidated everything. My sponsorships, my savings, my future. Paid for 2 years of treatment. It gave us 2 more years together before she passed." Tears stung Miranda's eyes. "And after?" "After I was 30. Too old to return to professional tennis. No money, no sponsors. No one returns your calls when you're no longer profitable." He looked at her directly. "So I took the jobs I could get. I've been mopping floors for 3 years. And I've been invisible for 3 years." Miranda thought about every time she had walked past him without a word. Every time she had dismissed him as just part of the background. Every time she had measured someone's worth by their title instead of their character. "I'm sorry," she said, and meant it with every fiber of her being. "I'm so sorry, Marcus." "The game isn't finished," he said gently. They played the final set, but something had shifted. Miranda was no longer playing to win. She was playing to understand, to see this man who had sacrificed everything for love while she had built an empire with nothing but ambition. When Marcus's final serve aced past her, the crowd sat in absolute silence. Miranda walked to the net, hand extended. "You won." Marcus shook her hand. "I didn't do this to win a game, Miranda. I did this to help you see." "See what?" "That everyone has a story. Everyone has dignity. Everyone deserves to be seen." He released her hand. "I don't want to marry you. I don't even know you. But maybe now you'll know yourself a little better." As Marcus turned to leave, Miranda called out, "Wait, please." Her voice cracked. "I can't marry you. I know that was a stupid, arrogant thing to say. But I can offer you something real. A position at Apex Industries. Director of Corporate Culture. 6 figures. Full benefits. I need someone who understands what I've forgotten, that success without humanity is worthless." Marcus studied her for a long moment. The crowd held its breath. "I'll think about it," he said finally. "But not because of the money. Because maybe you're ready to learn something more important than how to win." 3 months later, Marcus accepted the position. Not just the job, the chance to transform a corporate culture from the inside. Under his guidance, Apex Industries started a program hiring people others had overlooked. Formerly incarcerated individuals, those experiencing homelessness, older workers deemed past their prime. Miranda framed that tennis match photo in her office, not as a trophy, but as a reminder. The woman in that photo had everything and nothing. The woman she was becoming understood the difference. She never won another tennis championship at Riverside, but she gained something infinitely more valuable. She learned to see people, really see them. And in learning to see Marcus, she finally learned to see herself, not as the untouchable CEO, but as a human being who had almost let success blind her to humanity. The day Marcus received his first Forbes recognition for corporate innovation, he found Miranda crying in her office. "What's wrong?" he asked. She looked up, smiling through tears. "Nothing's wrong. Everything's right. I'm just grateful you beat me that day. You beat the worst parts of me." Marcus sat down across from her. "We all lose our way sometimes. The brave ones find their way back." And in that moment, in a corner office overlooking the city, 2 people who had started as CEO and janitor sat as equals, both champions, in the only game that truly mattered, the game of becoming more human.